Okay, so short story is grew up Mormon, like fairly heavy Mormon. Grandparents take you to church on Sunday. You just sit there begging Oma, Nana, whatever you want to call her, just like, you got any snacks in your purse? And I was bored out of my mind when I went to church, and I never really, I never really understood religion. Like, I just kind of accepted it as it was what it was, and that's probably what was true. But slowly, I kind of deconverted myself, but I'm just kind of confused now where to go.
I see. I was also a big time Mormon, and I was also bored at church. In fact, it's one of the shortcomings of Mormonism is that because the Sunday sessions are led, or the talks are given by members who are assigned by the bishop to give those talks, they're very rarely very like interesting because it's somebody who's literally just sitting there thinking about their talk and just nervous as heck, and they're like, all right, I got to get up and public speak for some reason, even though that's not anything I ever wanted to do. And then they're just kind of trying to get through it, and you're sitting there looking at the clock going, I know that when it's 10 after, that's usually when this fucking thing ends. So it is very
Yeah, that was
boring, the
me.
first hour of Mormon church. And I assume that you went back in the day when church sessions, when you had to go for 3 hours every Sunday, right?
Uh,
Or
Actually, I just
were
went
you
that first hour and then I noped the fuck out.
didn't go to Sunday school or priest in? All right. How old were you when you
No,
left?
no, they could not force me. Well, I'm 19 now. I think the last time I went to church was when I was like 8.
Okay, so you didn't do the you didn't become a deacon, you haven't done the priesthood stuff, no sacrament stuff.
Nope, not
When
even
you say you're
baptized.
deacon, so if you haven't gone since 8, are you saying that you were just sort of like, I'm kind of Mormon, or are you saying that you have been a different religion? I'm almost confused on what you would need to deconstruct
Oh,
from if you
sorry.
haven't been going to church
I
for
was just
11
like
years.
deconstructing the whole like belief in God. Like, I didn't go to church not because I didn't believe, but just because I was really bored.
Okay, so it's not though that you're trying to replace. There's no religious community you're trying to replace. You're just basically going, up to this point, I've accepted a God exists. I've assumed that God was the Christian God, maybe with some Mormonism stirred in the pot, and now I just want to
Yeah,
know
because
how to work through that. I don't believe that anymore.
yeah,
I
because
guess that's the
like
question: is
my
do
grand.
you
Oh, sorry.
do you currently believe in a God? Like if someone came walked up to you and said, "Hey Moses, do you believe in God?" Your answer would be,
Well, considering I live in Idaho, like very religious Idaho, I would be afraid to say no. I'd be afraid to say like, no, I don't believe.
"Okay, but in a but if you're asking yourself, say at night, you're trying to you surprise yourself and you self reflect, you say, "Hey, do I believe in God?" Your answer to yourself would be,
Honestly, I don't know. It'd be a hopeful. I would. It would be a, like a, I hope so.
"Okay,
Which
so
God do
not
you hope
because of a
exists?
Hmm?
Which God do you hope exists?
Well, I've been watching a lot of The Line, and I'm gonna be honest. I hope it's not the Christian one.
Okay, so you don't believe, but
That
you hope
that
one
God
of them
sounds
exists.
scary.
And so is it that you're kind of just hoping a God that fits everything you want after you die to happen will then happen, a sort of uh individualistic Kyle's God because you're just afraid of dying?
Yeah, it's a big. I'm afraid of dying.
Cool. Go to therapy. That's a little. We finally got to it. Go to therapy is the number one thing. Second one would be recovering from religion, rfr.org, or it might be recovering from religion.org. I don't think you can shorten it. Which we got to figure out how to. It's probably going to cost way too much money to buy that. But recoveringfromreligion.org, and you can get into basically group sessions with people who are right there with you, who are wanting to talk about their fear and concern over death and non-existence and everything. Third, I would tell you, if you want to have it if you want to build some community where in Idaho you are feeling afraid of talking about it, Idaho is only second to Utah in having some of the most robust ex-Mormon communities, because everywhere that you have a robust religion community in America of one specific religion, generally there is an awesome community of people who left that religion. I just go to meetup.com and type in ex-Mormon, because ex-Mormons love meetup.com. Be careful. You want to make sure that you're going to the groups of people who are going to talk about things. You don't want to accidentally end up in a swinger group, as ex-Mormons are wont to do sometimes. You want to make sure that you're going to or maybe you do want to go. I don't know you, Moses, but just letting you know that both groups might be present in those spaces. Yeah, what you need right now is to talk about it and talk about the concerns. But Moses, I'm also going to tell you the thing that I've been telling people most recently. How do you get over your fear of death? Who the fuck gets over their fear of death? I mean, there are some people who do. It seems like when you get older, you care less. No. Hang on, Paul, as he raises his head. You have evolved for the last 4.5 billion years to do things each day to try and stay alive. This is a royal you to anybody. The desire, when faced with death, when faced with a thing that might kill you, our brains literally go into what they call fight, flight, or freeze. That these are responses that hopefully, if you get the right one, will prevent you from dying. Frankly, if I wasn't afraid of death, I doubt I'd be alive, because what's so great about all this? Not to be depressing, but fear of death literally is a motivating factor for people every day. And then if you're going to have to live, that desire to have as good of a life as you can, that's the motivating factor to like get out of bed and do a little extra than just enough to stay alive and get by. I don't know why anybody would say, how do I get over being afraid of dying? And I don't really, and Paul might change my mind on this as I turn the mic over. I think I don't believe, not that I think they're lying. I think they might be maybe incorrect about what they think. I don't actually believe at the core when people say I have no fear of dying, or I'm not afraid of dying, or as Matt brought up, that they aren't bothered by the proposition that Hitchens had put forward, the idea of it's not so bad that someone's saying the party is over. What's bad is that they're saying the party will go on, but you have to leave. I don't know. Anyway, all of that stuff is stuff, though, that you can handle in therapy and get a better level of acceptance of. Paul, I'd love to hear if you think I'm wrong.
Well, I don't have an answer that makes anyone happier, so that's fine. But no,
Yeah.
but no, I mean, part of my background is that I had a pretty aggressive cancer and was given 4 weeks to live. And when you spend 2 weeks, which is I did, thinking I had 4 weeks to live, you kind of come to face with that. And I guess where Jimmy and I would disagree is actually on the word fear. Like I don't even have FOMO. Like I don't fear it. I actively do things to make it not happen, but in my view, that's not the same as fear. I would wager that every single day the thought crosses my mind, this could end today, and that's fine.
I think people caricaturize fear.
I might just be weird.
And I think that's where we disagree, because I think you're doing that thing too, where people are like, when I think of fear, I think of, almost the like TV representation of fear. And obviously that the act of being afraid, but I think it extends to beyond that. For example,
but I can contrast that with how I felt before when I did have that kind of fear.
Oh,
and I no longer
have an acceptance that I have an acceptance that I will die someday. And in a way, I'm right now putting effort into not dying, because if I were to stop all my meds and treatment and everything, it wouldn't take all of that long to die. But I'm not, for the record, before people freak out, it does not seem to be an immediate threat that I would die, because I am putting this effort in. But I've accepted I will die. But I don't think that removes. I think fear comes in a lot of forms, and I think that feeling despair about the life that will go on without you, I think, is a natural thing, and comes in a lot of forms. In the same way that I think homophobia, for example. Homophobia, I actually do think, is a fear of queer people. But they'll be like, I'm not afraid of them, I just hate them. But when you get to the root of it, I want to get very Yoda-esque as I expand into this, and it'll lead to the dark side. That was terrible. But I wanted to try to appeal to you where I know the things you love. Anyway,
Yeah,
I don't
you
know.
ruin the things I love. That's gonna help.
It would have to be something I'd want to spend more time articulating, though I bet you I'll articulate it a lot in what I believe is currently set to be around chapter 16 of my book, A Beginner's Guide to Religious Deconstruction, coming out hopefully in 2025. If the current outline holds, that is. But anyway, I couldn't help but you guys are going to hear me say it a lot. If I suddenly stop saying it, it means I gave up. Yeah.
Have you actually started? Okay, so you and I can have a
Very
book
recently.
competition.
Yeah.
Because my book is X% done.
I need my book
to
not
years.
suck.
Oh no,
Yeah,
no.
okay.
All right. Well, we can be the accountability partners. You know how you have the accountability partners so that you don't look at the porn or whatever. You know, we can be we need the alternate.
Covenant eyes.
Did you write a paragraph today?
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
Oh my God,
Someone
this
said,
reminds
"Is it a
me of
picture
that.
book?"
Sorry, Moses,
an
we
insult at me?
forgot you were here.
Who's
It's okay.
Moses?
Your
I'm just
guys'
kidding. Go ahead.
talk right now remind me of Stephen King and I think George R.R. Martin, where George R.R. Martin is like, how the hell do you get so many books out? I've only finished like 3 pages. You got 3 books out. This is what it kind of reminds me of.
And I think I recall King writes 13 pages every day.
He just writes. I think he writes like 13 pages a day, and I'm like, bro, how? Because I like writing too. I can't imagine that, even at my most passionate.
Yeah. Well, Moses, do you have any other questions? I feel like we gave you the best we could and then had a little bit of, I don't know. What else you got? Anything?
Well, my only other real question would be like, how would I explain this to my family? Because, like Kyle, he's not financially like in needing of his family, but I very much am.
Then probably don't.
So the question is why would you want to, and what need is it filling for you to share that part of yourself right now?
Yeah.
Well, I don't feel like I would need to, but like if they ever like ask me, I don't want to lie.
Sure. But if you have to for your safety, do it anyway. The main thing though, Kyle, is that if you recognize that as a barrier, then it's a barrier you have to address. And unfortunately, the advice is the same as we already gave you, because very few people get out of that situation on their own. Usually it means that you have built a community through which you can either explore new career opportunities, new support opportunities, and community building is you getting a new community that accepts you is probably going to be the most important thing. So the same stuff from before, RFR, meet up for ex-Mormon community, and if you can get into therapy. All of those are community builders, especially if you go to group therapy, which is likely the type of therapy they would recommend for recovering from religious-based anxiety, basically.
All right, thank you. Yeah, I would definitely avoid the swingers because I'm asexual.
All right.
I bet you
that
there's
would
asexual
be very
swingers.
weird to me.
All right, yeah, sure, fair enough. I keep wanting to say Moises, but Moses.
I know,
ask your parents
my
why
dad,
they thought the better way
my
to
dad
spell
also
it
named
would
all
make
his.
them.
I don't know.
Your
My dad just said he fucked up.
Oh, he just put the I by accident. I was like, so he wanted to invoke Moses, but he also wanted people to see the word moist every time.
Oh God! Don't call it moist. That was a recurring joke from middle school.
Yeah,
oh God!
Nothing we come up with here will be new to you, I'm sure.
Nope.
Well, challenge accepted. This is the next hour of the show. If anybody wants to leave, you can leave. No, I'm just kidding. All right. Thanks for calling, Moses. Best of luck to you, bud.
Okay. Thank you guys so much.
Thanks, Moses.